All right, welcome. My name is Adam Rinder, and I'll be reviewing a short sequence that we learned during the Conscious Contact workshop here at Yoga Oasis. We'll begin by reviewing a few body positions before we bring on our lovely model, who is waiting in the wings, for a demonstration of the techniques themselves. So, starting on hands and knees is a great place to start to feel your own body weight with your arms straight. And simply leaning from side to side, you'll get a sense of your weight transferring from one arm to the other. And this is essentially the way we're going to practice when we're working on a human body. Some of the more important body mechanics to consider are using straight arms, so you're using your bones to transfer your body weight with as little effort as possible. Having your hands directly under your shoulders when you're using your palms is the most efficient way to transfer weight. And then to add more body weight, walking your hands further away from your legs will add body weight, add power. Keeping your knees wide, feet tucked under, is a great position that gives you mobility to step into a half-kneeling position and transition between comfortable body positions for yourself as the giver. And those are the basics. So we'll get started. I'll invite Bree to come and lie down on the mat. She's generously offered her time to receive. So before I get started, the first thing I'll do is simply center myself by focusing on my breath and consciously relaxing my own body. This is a way to set a tone for the offering so that throughout my experience as the giver, I will be consciously relaxing my body so that that feeling of my own comfort translates to my partner. We'll begin with palming along the feet. I start by spreading my hands nice and wide to create a lot of surface area to use as a means to create a lot of contact between me and my partner. And so I use the heel of my hand along the arch of the foot, starting close to the heel, and then working my way towards the big toe. And along the way, I notice and appreciate my receiver's natural flexibility. I notice that Bree's legs naturally turn out with ease. If I was working with someone who was a little bit tighter in the hips with less mobility in their legs, then I probably wouldn't apply as much pressure towards the toes. I would apply firm pressure in the heels and then soften as I worked my way wider. The idea here is we're just beginning to create a rhythm, both for myself as the giver and for the receiver. So I'll simply notice her breath as I take my time shifting weight from one hand to the other and massaging the arch of the foot with the heel of my hand. We'll do a simple sequence on one side, focused on the hips and the lower half of the body. I lift the foot that's on my right side, and I hold the ankle in my right hand and place her foot right onto my thigh. So my right foot is forward, left foot back. Then I take my left hand, spread my palm, and press my thumb into the sole of her foot. I inhale as I prepare, and as I exhale with arms straight, I squeeze her foot with my hands and lean back to add a little bit of traction. Inhale, lean forward, readjust your grip, and as you exhale, squeeze the foot with your hands and lean back to add gentle traction. Inhale, lean forward once again, readjust your grip, and as you exhale with straight arms, lean back. Switching the clasp, I place my left hand under the ankle. I place my right hand under her knee, and I lower my left knee, right knee to the floor. This gives me a comfortable position where I can simply explore hip circles, moving the knee in a circular motion above the hip, once again appreciating my receiver's mobility, natural range of movement, and giving a lot of support, especially under the knee. So if your partner has a tendency to resist opening the knee out, you just give them more support. Taking the knee wide, I slip my right hand to the ankle. I place my right foot behind her knee crease, and then I just allow her knee to fall with gravity. With my left hand, I wrap around the opposite hip, and I simply lean to my right and bring her with me. The hook of my left hand around her hip is inviting her opposite knee to come towards the ground without any effort or force. I can add a little bit of body weight here through my right palm, and I simply sink my hand along the inseam of her thigh. And I follow that movement by leaning with my left hand, pulling, and leaning to my right. So this is sort of like a warm-up. I'm not adding a lot of pressure through my right palm. I'm just starting to feel. And I can see if I push too hard, then Bree starts to engage to protect. So again, this is sort of just a warm-up. Be gentle with how much body weight you give, and focus on leaning and pulling with your opposite hand. From here, I reach back with my right hand, hold her ankle. I bring her knee in towards her chest, and then I switch my knee position. I'll lower my right knee outside of her hip. I'll step my left foot across her midline, and then I simply use my left shin to catch her leg as she comes into a twist. No effort here. I just allow gravity to bring her knee towards the floor, and she gets to a natural twist for her body without any added pressure or force. And I place my hands in what looks like a butterfly position on the top of her hip, right at the top of her thigh, and I'm going to press down and back towards her opposite foot, towards the back of our mat. So the pressure is down and back. And what that does is it creates some traction, some length in her spine while she receives the twist. If this is comfortable for my receiver, I use just my right hand, one hand on the top of the thigh to press down and back, and I use my other hand to gently walk down the outseam of the leg. I'm not sure if it's called the outseam, but we'll call it the outseam. The seam that runs along the outer thigh. And I'm palming along what is the IT band that runs from the outer hip to the outer knee. And so be mindful here because it can be tender for some people. For most people, I would say. Returning back to the first position, I support behind her knee. I bring her knee towards her chest, and then once again, I switch positions for myself. I'll lower her knee towards the floor, slide my right hand to her heel, and then in this position, I'll have a seat and place the soles of my feet underneath her thigh. Her knee, relative to her hip, is shy of a 90-degree angle. And that's important so that we don't compress the low back on that same side where the knee is bent. So holding her foot with both hands, I simply begin pedaling my feet and walking along the underside of the thigh as a way to once again appreciate what I feel and notice where I feel the muscle, the hamstring muscle, which we're walking along here, is stronger, more dense, versus where it's more relaxed, more naturally open. And so this initial stage of just walking along the underside of the thigh is a great first step to practice a very traditional Thai massage technique that we like to call the pedal boat. To take this a little bit further, I'll place my left foot at the center of her thigh, and I slide my right foot to her knee crease, and then I can wrap her foot over my shin and wrap my right hand over the top of her heel. That gives me a little something to hold on to with my right hand. With my left hand, I'll hold the underside of her knee on her straight leg side. Here's the important part. With your foot at the mid-thigh, straighten your leg, lock your knee. Inhale, lift your chest, and as you exhale, lean back with your hands. So the power comes from locking my straight leg, and the middle of the thigh is a great place to work in general for this technique. It'll give you good bang for your buck. You can also walk your foot towards the hip and towards the knee, repeating this action. Straighten your leg, lock your knee, lift your chest, and lean back. And that's where the power is. I'm conscious to use the entire sole of my foot rather than turning my foot towards the outer edge or inner edge, so that it spreads the surface area of this powerful technique evenly into the hamstring. Another fine point here is to try to create a perpendicular line through my straight leg to her thigh. And that perpendicular line gives me the most efficient line of energy to apply pressure. I'll do this several times. This is a fantastic therapy for the hamstrings, which in turn often relieves lower back pain and pressure associated with tightness in the legs. To come out, I uncross her shin, hold her foot in my hands. I'll again just walk a little bit. And then I simply allow her foot to rest on the floor as I adjust my positions. I'll return to a kneeling position with my right foot on the floor, left knee down. Supporting her knee, I lift her knee up. After a position where her hip is externally open or open out to the side, she's going to want to do the opposite movement, a twist. So I'll place my right knee on the floor outside her hip. I'll step my left foot across and place her thigh on top of mine, knee to thigh. And then from here, we have an opportunity to touch the shoulders. So by holding her hands with mine, I give her just a little bit of a jiggle to relax her shoulders. And then I'll place my palms at the front of the shoulder, right where the shoulder meets the chest. And in this joint here at the front of the shoulder is a little well. So the head of the arm bone will fit the palm of your hand. You want to look for that natural fit, make a nest there, and then sink the heel of your hand into the space just below the head of the arm bone, underneath the collarbone. And this is where the little pec muscle runs. It's called pec minor. And I'm simply going to use my body weight to sink into that little divot there, the little pec muscle. And you can think now of being like a large cat massaging your partner. It's a great analogy. And the idea is that you keep your palms soft and you add power through the firmness of your body weight by using straight arms, leaning your shoulders directly above your wrists, and then for your own support, for your own comfort, keep your back straight as you lean your body weight forward. The benefit of working this particular muscle is that by releasing tension in the front of the shoulder, it actually helps to release tension in the neck and back of the shoulder. So people who would complain of neck pain, upper back tension, this would be a fabulous technique to practice. Since my right knee is down, I'm going to look across at a diagonal and wrap my hands like a hook over the top of her shoulder. And I'm reaching for her trapezius muscle, which runs between her neck and her shoulder. So I take one hand on top of the other, I wrap my finger pads over the top of the shoulder, and now I use my body to lean back. With straight arms, I lean straight back. As I inhale, I can lean forward, readjust my grip, place my palm, and lean back. And as I do this, I'm using the knuckles of my fingers rather than my finger pads. So it's more contact, more surface area, which generally will be more welcome than a sharper, more precise point of contact. And then I can return to the little pec muscle. I sink the heel of my hand into the flesh underneath the head of the arm bone and just breathe. A nice way to finish here is to palm the forearms down towards the wrists. And then here is the grand finale. I use my hands on the floor to bring my left knee to the floor, right foot flat to the floor like so. So I switch positions. Again, I use my hands. I'll lower my right knee to lift my left foot up. And as I do that, I'm moving her leg more into a twist. So I lower my left knee down, step my right foot forward, and then I can sit comfortably in this position. Here I'll take my left forearm, place it along the top of her thigh, and I bring my right hand to her back. And I simply lean and follow her body in the twist. When you have your partner in this position, you can do some nice things here with your palms. You can use your forearms. You can also take a soft palm to the space just at the top of the hip crest and make circles to release the fascia, the superficial muscle tissue around the sacral joint. And this is a nice feeling, very welcome in the twist. To add more leverage to the twist, make contact with your forearm on the thigh, your right hand, even forearm on the back, and lean back as you twist your partner. So a lot of techniques to work with once you're in the position, and you really can play, explore what feels good for you. To come out, I lower my right knee to the floor, step my left foot flat on the floor, and pause. In this position, I'll slide my right hand under the knee to give support, left hand under the heel, and then I'll return to a standing position and add a little bit of traction like we saw at the beginning. I hold the heel of my hand in my right foot, I step my right foot forward, left foot back. I place her heel on my thigh, and then I take my left hand, thumb to the arch of the foot. I inhale, and as I exhale, I simply lean back with straight arms, straight back to add traction. Inhale, and as I exhale, I firmly grip with my hands, and with straight arms, I lean back. So you can repeat these techniques on the second side. I'll do a quick review. hip circles. Catch her knee with your shin, hook around the opposite hip, and then gently palm to feel for what you might say is the natural tension or flexibility of the hip along the inner thigh. Give a lot of support to the knee as you cross the midline. Use your opposite shin to support the knee and just come into a little bit of a twist with the butterfly grip. Press on the top of the thigh, press down and back. Give time for your partner to breathe, to receive the twist. When we come back to this open position, I'll have a seat, place my feet on the underside of the thigh, and I'll start holding her foot with both hands as I walk along the hamstring. I'm conscious to keep her knee shy of 90 degrees, not too high, but more at a slightly acute angle relative to her straight leg. And I use this technique of locking my straight leg as I lean back. So here, I'll hook my foot behind her knee crease, wrap her foot under my shin, and then with my opposite leg, I start mid-thigh. I hold my hands around her ankle, the underside of her knee. I inhale as I prepare, and as I exhale, I straighten my leg, lift my chest, and lean back. So again, lock and lean. Many times in this technique, I feel like givers are too far away to actually give good pressure, so I would err on the side of being a little bit closer to get the firmness of the power here. And just notice your partner's breath. You can check in with them if you're not sure if the pressure is enough. They'll let you know. To come out, I unhook her foot from my shin, I rest her leg on the floor, and as I transition, I'm mindful to stay in touch with my partner physically so she always feels my presence. Then we'll come into the twist. I cross her knee over my thigh. I can work on the shoulders here. I bring my knee to the floor to bring her leg into a twist, and in this position, I get comfortable. I'll sit on my right heel, wrap my forearms around her hip, her back, and lean back to facilitate the twist. Even with my elbows bent, I'm thinking of leaning my body back. So I hook and then lean with my whole body. To come out, I place my hands. I switch, bringing my opposite knee to the floor, and then I'll give a lot of support to her leg as I stand up, straighten her leg, and then I'll add a little bit of traction to seal the deal. It's also nice to finish your massage, at least for the legs, like this, by doing a little bit of palming and returning to that first technique. Oftentimes, this is where, as a receiver, I feel most comfortable, and so that translates into what she receives. The more comfortable I am, the more welcome the technique is. She can feel my ease, my comfort, and that is an important element to translate through your touch.